Welcome back. We just got through the mailbag, and we're going to do the other main event for this episode 190, if you're not too sure about what episode we're on right now and you're just checking out random things, but we are doing Call the Spot on the card, and if you don't know what that means, it's kind of our version of Marry, Fuck, Kill, where instead of just, you gotta pick the Marry, Fuck, Kill thing, you have 5 different options, 5 different superstars, and you gotta rank them, and you have to place them in the specific categories. You can't double up, you can't replace anybody. So these 5 people get placed in one of these 5 spots. That's it. And that's what makes it difficult. And we're going to do this based off of the NXT 5. That's kind of coming about because of the Beast in the East special that we just had, because 2 of them were arguably the ones that should have been the main event of that night. But NXT's been taking things by storm, and shit, it's a group of 5 people. Why not take advantage of it? So those NXT 5, for those who don't know, are Finn Balor, Hideo Itami, Adrian Neville, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. So we have to rank them in order, and it goes from bottom to top. Released, jobber, mid-card, upper mid-card, and main event is the top of the card. So, I think that this was a tough thing, but at the same time, my released and my main event were easy. It was the middle ground that ended up being difficult for me. My released, I went with Hideo Itami. I think that out of everybody, that he's shown me the least amount of potential. And that's not to say that he's bad, but comparing him to the other 4, I would rather watch any of the other 4 in a match than Hideo Itami. And I think the language barrier is something that's going to be a little bit tough to get around. And he just doesn't have as marketable as a look as some of the other people and stuff. Like, all of the elements that you can possibly bring together, except for being popular because he's got a different ethnic background, that he, is a tie to that kind of culture. Everything else, he's a downgrade from the others, so by default, he gets my released. So let's go around here. We're going to split this up category to category instead of person to person. So, Peyton, who did you give released to?
Kevin Owens.
Holy shit.
Really?
He's fucking fat. If you're going to release fucking that other guy because he's fat, and that other guy because he's fat, then you should release Kevin Owens for being fat. Trim some weight, Tubby, and you can come back.
What's your real answer?
Kevin Owens.
Really? That's your answer?
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn. Harsh.
I thought he was kidding too.
Kalen, who's released?
This one was pretty easy for me. I'd have to say, of those 5, future endeavored would be Hideo Itami, for basically the reasons you said. Language barrier's tough. I do like watching him in the ring, but he's got a lot of kicks and not a whole lot else. And he's a great wrestler, but of the 5, I'd have to make him hit the road.
Sean, who are you releasing?
Hideo Itami. For exactly the same reasons. The language barrier, the fact that all he does is kicks, and the fact that I just don't like him.
Well, step above the released one, where they're still in the company, but they really are just like, what am I getting this paycheck for, is Jobber. And this was the toughest one for me to pick, because at least with mid-card and upper mid-card, or upper mid-card and main event, you're kind of like on the same range. Jobber is like, damn, that sucks. And, I hate to say it, but I gave this to Sami Zayn. He is somebody who's really great, and I like watching him in the ring. He's popular and all that kind of stuff, but if you were going to put up people like Undertaker and Triple H and John Cena and everybody, one by one, with each of these people, I would buy Owens, Balor, and Neville being able to beat him more than Sami Zayn. And I know that doesn't hold a lot of value because Sami Zayn could in this kind of environment, but I think if any of them were going to be like an entertaining jobber, Sami Zayn probably would make the most sense, especially in a different era. Like in the Attitude Era, Sami Zayn probably would have just been a jobber. And that sucks, but that's what makes this difficult. So Sami Zayn gets my jobber spot. Hate to say it, but Peyton, who's the jobber?
Well, I'm going to say Sami Zayn as well, but I'm not going to say hate to say it. I think that's his spot. I think that he comes in as a smaller guy. It's not impossible for him to get up there, but if he is, the best way you're going to do that is not him coming in and having some kind of unbelievable fire streak and beating a bunch of guys. He has to build his way there, and the one way to get him there is with fan sympathy. Have him be like the Daniel Bryan story or the Shawn Michaels story, where he has to fight and claw his way up from the bottom, gain crowd support because, like, man, we really want to see this guy. We really want to see this guy. We really want to see this guy. And then you could pay that off years down the line.
Galen, who's your jobber?
Got to agree. Again, Sami Zayn. For basically the same reasons you guys said. You know, he's so likable. He's so over with the crowd. He doesn't need to win. He doesn't need a title. He is good at making other people look good. You know, he can gain sympathy by losing a lot. He can make the heels look dominant by just squashing them. I think his best position of the five would be jobber if I had to assign one.
And the modern jobber doesn't just lose all the time.
True, yeah.
We don't have jobbers in the classic sense anymore. You know, gone are the days of the Brooklyn Brawler and Iron Mike Sharp. You know, the modern jobber is like, you know, what Kofi Kingston was for years, or like Bo Dallas now. Like, they still get wins here and there.
Okay, not a jobber then. Enhancement talent.
A mechanic.
Yes.
He's going to be tag teaming with the mechanics. Sean, who's the jobber for you?
It's a full house. Sami Zayn.
Poor Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Sammy can bump, too.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Can.
People could toss him around and it makes it look so much better. That's actually one of the reasons why I bumped up Adrian Neville. He's my mid-carder. Is the ability for him to just kind of like flap around the ring and do a bunch of crazy stuff and put other people over. That's why he doesn't get the upper mid-card spot, because I think that he could be somebody who is kind of wrestling for like the, you know, the Intercontinental US title, stuff like that, but not maybe the guy. He's the guy that puts on a good show but loses. And I think another reason why is his mic skills just aren't really that great. So Neville's my mid-carder. Who's mid-carder for you, Peyton?
My mid-carder is Hideo Itami. I am much more positive on him than you guys. I honestly don't think you guys have really seen that much of Hideo Itami, because this just sounds like a consensus opinion that the internet has made up about Hideo Itami, and I don't think many people give him a fair shake. He actually has a lot of skill there. No, he can't talk very good English, but he doesn't need to. As a matter of fact, I think all the things foreign about him gives him a mystique. It shakes things up. I'm tired of having the same fucking white guy with short brown hair who looks like he just came out of a fucking frat house. I want something a little bit more unique. So having that international flair with Hideo Itami, a guy who's skilled, a guy who we know at the very least is good enough for creating finishing moves for the rest of the roster. I would put him in the mid. I would maybe give him a manager, but I would say put him with Paul Heyman. I think Paul Heyman would do wonders for that guy.
And in that situation, would you have Hideo Itami be face or heel? Or would it matter?
I think preferably heel, because I hate to say it, but the Asian villain is stereotypical. But
Just bring Mr. Fuji.
oh, that would be awesome. But you know what I think would be really cool if like Paul Heyman got like a modern Dangerous Alliance, and I think Hideo Itami would be the perfect fit for something like that.
Because he's got the go to sleep.
Sure.
Kalen, who's your mid-carder?
Also going with Adrian Neville for basically the same reasons you said, Tony. I know so far our lists have been identical. Adrian Neville's great. He is not, I wouldn't put him as low as far as saying he's a jobber, or, you know, in the position that I would put him, but he's great at making other people look good. I want to see him chasing those mid-card titles, and he's always putting on a good show. So I don't think I could rank him as high as the main event or upper mid-card. I was kind of split on him as far as upper mid-card or mid-card, but I'm just going to put him in the standard mid-card there. And for a couple of reasons, like you said, he's not the best on the mic. They need to work on that. They need to give him some more time speaking, I think. Have more invested storylines with him. But I love him, and mid-card, I think, fits him quite well.
Who's yours, Sean?
I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I'm going to go with Finn. Finn is my mid-card because I just don't like him.
Flack!
I don't like the coup de grace. I think he's just overrated. To be fair, I don't enjoy any of his matches. I think he's quite boring in the ring. And all he does is flips and shit and whatnot.
But you like Neville.
I know I like Neville. Neville's my fucking main eventer. Spoiler alert.
See, I put Finn Balor in the upper mid-card spot, and I agree that I like Neville in the ring better than Finn Balor, at least right now. And I actually kind of like Sami Zayn in the ring a little bit better than Finn Balor. But Balor, to me, strikes me as a bigger superstar. And not even, like, you know, in the sense of, like, more muscles or something like that, but, like, he carries himself differently. And that's a big factor of whether or not somebody can be an upper mid-carder instead of just kind of like, well, they're good at wrestling. And he's a little bit better on the mic, too. I mean, he's not great, but he's better on the mic than Adrian Neville, so that gave him another little boost to me. Really, it became, I can't give him the main event spot because we might as well just do both at the same time. We already, you know, my main eventer is Kevin Owens because he is fucking awesome. He has been just taking things by storm in a way that I can't remember the last person that I felt like that about. He is good in everything that he has done. Mic skills, in the ring, keeping a character going, keeping things fresh. I mean, I even watched the little thing on the latest Botchamania that I didn't notice where he was flubbing up some kind of a line about, like, that he deals with, like, pessimistic people or something like that, or I can't remember for sure exactly what it was, but he kind of, like, mumbled over his words, and the fans were like, like, you fucked up and stuff, and he was cutting a promo on Hideo Itami, and he's like, I was messing up so much, it sounded like Hideo Itami trying to speak English. Immediately jumped right into something that was like, that's a dick comment to say, and that's so fucking funny and all that. He's so great, so, like, I had to give him main event, so by default, Finn Balor had to get upper mid-card. And I've been warming up to Finn Balor a lot lately, and I still think he has a lot to, like, progress. But if you were to ask me who's going to be a bigger star in the future, Neville or Balor, I think it's going to be Balor. So that's why he gets that spot. And I already talked about Owens. He's my main eventer. So, Peyton, who's your upper mid-card and main event?
My upper mid-card would be Neville. I think he is a guy that they're doing perfect with. I mean, this whole Mighty Mouse-inspired gimmick they have for him where he comes out with the cape and he's got, like, the arm cuffs on. Looks kind of like a superhero. I think that's exactly what he should be. He's a guy who's going to be oohs and ahs for the families coming in. Kids will love him. They're going to buy all types of Neville merchandise. I think they should sell, like, little capes kids can buy so they can look like Neville.
That'd be smart.
He's going to be a good star like that. I don't think he will ever be able to truly be a main event guy. I think he's one of those guys that you could pull in once in a while for a month or two feud with the champ if you want to, like, build that to it, but he's never going to be a guy that I could even see winning the title. But I could see him being one of those dominant intercontinental titles. Possibly a guy, if he keeps his career right, he could take that slot of being the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. He's a guy I could totally picture because that's the workers' title, and that would be a perfect representation of him there. And that leaves my main event. Only person left, Finn Balor. This guy is worth billions and billions of dollars. This guy just has it all. He has this dimensions to his character that nobody else has. The stares that he gives, the choreography that he has when he's coming out, the shifting between the regular Finn Balor and into the Demon, and the ways you could go with that to, like, create different characters beyond the Demon. You know, maybe you can make, like, the Dragon, and you can make, like, the Lion. You could do all these different things with that, and I think that's really clever. Because, you know, a lot of people are like, is he going to do the body paint? You know, I don't really think so, because they were all, like, Marvel and DC characters and all this. What a great turnaround. Create your own freaking characters. And then you can also add all these, like, psychological things to them, as they've been doing. That's fucking awesome. We talk about how The Undertaker was great and the Undertaker-Mankind feud was great. And one thing I was going to say about that earlier is that how rare it is that something so gimmicky can be so well loved and seem like a main event legitimate thing. And I think that's something that Finn Balor can bring there. And he's a fantastic wrestler. And he has that international flair that I was talking about before. He has everything. I cannot wait to see how he's going to be on the main roster when he gets there.
He's punching flair.
I don't think I said anything about that.
He's got the international flair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
International joke. Anyway, Kalen.
Man, the first three was pretty easy for me to assign them. These two, I kind of weighed them back and forth a bunch in my head. And one of them has to be, because I'm left with Kevin Owens and Finn Balor. And making one of them a main eventer, one of them an upper mid-card, it's really tough for me. But let's see, I'll give, before I tell my results here, I'll give my pros and cons of each. Kevin Owens, he is a powerhouse. He's been great in everything that he's done so far in NXT and the main roster. His character is great. Of the five, he's the best talker. I love watching him in the ring. His feud with Cena has been gold, in my opinion. Really, really good stuff. With Finn Balor, he's got the best entrance right now, I think, in the whole company. He's got the best look of all the five. I do like Sean said, the flips and shit and whatnot. I like that. I like watching Finn Balor do the flips and shit and whatnot. His character's intriguing, but Finn Balor definitely needs to work on his mic skills because he's not really given much on that. I still haven't watched. I know they aired the little 10-minute Finn Balor things leading up to him winning the title this past weekend. Still haven't seen those, but I think that could possibly change my opinion. In the end, the upper mid-card, I'm going to have to put Owens in the upper mid-card. I love him. He's great, but I don't want him chasing the main WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Finn Balor, however, I would like to see him in the title picture for that one. So I'm going to say Finn Balor's my main eventer. Upper mid-card is Owens. And like I said, this was the toughest one because it was not really a coin flip, but it was really, really close for me.
That leaves Sean. Who do you got for upper mid-card and main event?
Upper mid-card is Kevin Owens. And I don't know the reason behind that, but I can give you the reason why Adrian Neville is my main eventer. He's got a great physique, minus the ears. He's got a great moveset, and most importantly, he's on my fucking team.
Most importantly.
And that always comes first.
Alrighty, guys, tell us what you would do with ranking these people. Who would you put in these different spots for the NXT 5? And what do you think about our list? Any of them that you completely disagree with? Any of them that you do agree with? All that other kind of stuff. Leave those comments below. We've got one more thing to take care of for this episode, and that is the Fantasy League, so stay tuned for part 6. We're going to be there. Click on that next video.